Hi guys. For the for this session, we will talk about the company object. So the company object is the main object of the data interface API. So you have to use a method of the company object to connect to an existing SAP-BIS1 database. Correspondingly, you can also disconnect your application from that database. When you have established a connection, you can access the data in the corresponding sub-business one database from the company object. Using the corresponding method of the company objects, you can also create logical units of work or global transactions, which spans more than one business object. Moreover, the company object provides methods to extract a business object. You can find more information about the components of company objects in the help file. So, how do we establish the database connection? So, this slide focuses on the database connection part when connecting to the company database with the API. In addition, you also have to supply the SAP-BIS1 user code and password in the properties username and password. So in case the component method fails, check all the properties, use the getLastError method to retrieve the error code and string. So here, we will discuss about the use trusted. So use trusted means that the if you deploy your application on the server side, so you can use the use trusted false. So it will use the Windows user account. But by default, the API uses the use trusted equals to false. So if you use trusted equals to false, you need to supply the DB username and the DB password. So in the next slide, we can see the uh, code for the logon. So uh, before we do this script, first we will open our Visual Studio. So let me share my desktop. So here we have my desktop. First, we need to open our Visual Studio. I am using Visual Studio Professional 2015. So actually, you can use your Visual Studio 2010 and above. So first, we will create a new project. So file, new project. Then we will create a Windows form and a Visual Basic Windows and a Windows form application. Then we'll create the name. For this time, we will name it as DI API. Then save your project on location. So I am saving it on my SDK training, and I will create a new folder, codex. Then click OK. So we have an empty form. First, before we do the scripting, we need to reference the SAP so the DI API. So first, go to your Solution Explorer, reference, then right-click, add reference. Then go to the COM object, then search for SAP-BIS1. As you can see, on my screen, I have multiple version of DI API. So I have the version starting from 2014 to 9.0. So here I will use the latest the API. Then select and then click OK. Then after referencing, we can see we have a new reference, SAP Now we are ready to code. So go to your code. Then we need to declare public variables because we will use this on every on the entire code. First, public O company as subbubscom.company. Also, we'll declare a public string. So the string is the error message. So later we will use this. Error message as string and two long objects. So L, the return code, and the error code as long. Then we'll go to the form load. So go to the event and then find the form load. So we can go to the designer and double click form load. And then here, first is we need to initialize the company object. So how to initialize the company object? So O company equals to new subbubscom.company. Then after initialization, we can set already the properties. First is the server. The server is the IP address or the server name of your where your MS SQL is installed. So in my case, this is installed on my local, which is my computer name is, let me check on my computer name, SAP. So this one, so I can go here on my service manager, check my server name. So this is my server name. So you can check yours on the SAP One service manager of your SAP One server. Then we'll set the property of the company DB. So company, that company DB. So let me check my company DB. I will open my SAP One client. So I have many company DB. So I will use this company DB, the ACI. So any company DB, you can use that. And then we'll set the username. So what is the username that we will use? This is the username when we log into the SAP One client. So for now, I will use the manager account, the username and the password. So if I remember it correctly, this is the password. So let me try if that's the correct password. Oh no, it's not. Let me check my previous trainings. So it's password, capital P. Yes. So I will change. So I have changed my password to this. Then we'll set the use trusted equals to false. So I recommend to use the use trusted equals to false when you are developing your add-on. Then O company that DB username. So we will also need the DB username. So my DB username is SA and the DB password. So for me, it's 1234. And then we can also set the language. So by default, we will use the English. So if after setting all the properties that we need to set, we are now ready to connect. So how do we connect this? So we go to we'll use the we will get the return code first, then O company dot connect dot connect. So remember, all function on the API, it will return zero if successful. But if it's a positive or a negative number, it is an error. So always check the return code. So for this, we will check if we encountered error on our code. So if error code is not equal to zero, okay, then we'll get the error code. So using O company that get plus error, and we will pass the reference by reference the error code and the error message. Then we can message box the error message. So we can use string.format error. Then the parameter error code and the error message so that we know where the error is. Then else, if not equal to zero, then we'll say that we are now connected to TI API. So that's the complete code or script for the connection of the company to the company. So let's try the code. So we don't, the error says no server type specified. So we forget one property, which is the server type. Server type is what is the version of your DB server type? What's the version of your backend or the database? So for me, it's MS SQL 2014. So let's try again. So now we are connected to the API. So that's all for today. See you again on the next session.